is the hottest day in the UK, and I'm melting, literally. I'm melting. I don't think I've ever experienced a weather like this, but I cannot complain. We've all wanted nice weather for a while now, and the weather is here, but it's a bit too much, to be honest. I can't do anything. I've changed my clothes 3 times already today, and I'm still sweating. So what I have on now really is going to have to do for this video. I have the fan blowing in my direction, full power. So if you see my hair going in every direction, please just ignore, okay? I will be starting now. So let's get into it. Let me just adjust this quickly. I hope everything's all adjusted there now. Yeah, we're doing fine. We're good to go. Okay? Just gonna pause that for a minute. Hi guys, and welcome back to the concluding part of my first video on self-esteem, where I've been talking about your unchecked self-esteem as a muffled elephant in the room. Now before I start, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and please hit the bell symbol that appears down below so you get notified whenever I upload a new video. And also please hit the like button below. You could also leave me. So here we go. Here are some more behaviors of low self-esteem that may not be obvious to those who have them, but can be glaring to others around them who are observant, okay? Or even affected by them. And because of this, they are now viewed as obnoxious and to be avoided at all times. So no one wants to be around a person like that, okay? So we're going to go straight into number 1. Now, if you are someone who's always inappropriately and constantly suspicious of everyone, even your close friends who mean you well and no harm, and you're generally unable to trust anyone, then you need to check your self-esteem. You need to search yourself and find out where this feeling you keep having stems from. It could be that your self-esteem is low and causing you to see yourself as not enough for your partner. Yes. And so you believe every woman out there, especially any of your close female friends, are out to snatch your husband from you. And you act very awkward around them. Now, there's a difference between setting boundaries as a wife protecting her home, okay? That's all right. I'm not talking about that. That's fine, and every wife actually should do that. But then there is also what is called destructive paranoid behavior, where you constantly suspect other women around your husband, such as his beautiful female colleagues at work and his close friends who he perhaps even knew or met before you know he got to meet you or know you or marry you, okay? And you do this because you think you're not pretty enough for your husband, or you're not smart enough for your husband, who perhaps, again, you know, because you have a lot of them, your husband has wandering eyes, he's a philanderer, so you don't trust him around anyone, around any woman for that matter, and you're very suspicious. Now, the truth of the matter is this: whether or not he's philandering behind your back, which would be a valid reason for your suspicions, I guess, but whether he's philandering behind your back or not, you will still need to work on your self-esteem, or you may destroy a good friendship with your suspicious nature. Yes, you will. So you really need to check that, okay? Number 2, I'm going to move really fast today. If you don't like socializing much, you know, and I'm not referring to introverts here, because I know being an introvert can affect your desire to socialize in general, okay? What I mean is, if you constantly feel a lack of desire to socialize because you think you are the sharpest crayon in the box all the time, and the people you interact with do not match your intellect, so you don't honor their invitation, my dear, you will need to check yourself, as your obvious pride can have its root in low self-esteem, okay? That's all I'm going to say on that one. Number 3, if you hate giving other people compliments, but you love receiving them, And then when you don't get a compliment from someone else, you conclude that they're jealous of you. Well, check your self-esteem. Actually, this particular type of low self-esteem is the opposite of the type where a person is always self-critical and never able to accept a compliment, you know. They never feel worthy of anything nice said about them, okay? So whichever one or whichever type you have, it is still low self-esteem. And you need to check it today, all right? Thank you. Number 4. If you always have to be the center of attraction wherever you go, and you always have to be the one who knows it all and can do it all. So you're constantly boasting, bragging, putting others' ideas and opinions down if they don't agree with yours. Again, you need to check your self-esteem as it may have its root in that, okay? It may be that your self-esteem is really low and that you are actually not as intellectually superior as you think you are to everyone else. There's a huge difference between a confident person and with a healthy self-esteem and an arrogant one, okay? Now, this is because people with a healthy self-esteem are not shaken if other people disagree with them. No, they're not, you know. As a matter of fact, they remain clear and confident in their own ideas or opinions. In fact, they don't even mind if you don't notice or nobody notices them or their wisdom wherever they may go. Okay, so they're very content with the way they are and they don't show off. All right, so check yourself. Number 5, if you find yourself putting people down pretty often, whether they're your friends, your family, your complete strangers, and you engage in endless gossiping about them, check your self-esteem. I'm saying check your self-esteem. Agreed, we all judge people, okay? We all judge. It's normal human behavior. We all like to engage in, you know, what I call harmless small talk about others. But, and I mean a big but, if the most part of your day is spent talking about someone else in a derogatory way and you just spend good time, you know, highlighting the negative things about them or things you know about them or see about them, and in doing this, you feel better about yourself or with yourself, wow. It just may be that you have a self-esteem problem with yourself and you find it necessary to compare your life with theirs. Either because you think your lifestyle is better than theirs, in which case you believe yourself to be superior to them, or because you think they see you as a charity case, and in that case, you believe yourself to be inferior to them. The fact is this, both behaviors are a terrible show of low self-esteem, honestly. But out of the two, the one that really gets to me is the first one, you know, where you feel you're superior or more superior to another person because of what you own. You see, life has taught me that when God is involved in a person's life, no condition is permanent. And so the very thing you mocked someone with in the past or you mock them with now can quickly become the same thing that you may go through to yourself one day. Yes, always bear that in mind. Any man or woman you mock because they don't live in a house like yours yet, or drive the kind of car you drive yet, or have the kind of job or business that you have yet, or even they don't have children or a husband yet, they can all suddenly have all these things and more. Never forget that there's a yet attached to everybody's condition in life. Yes, there's always a yet attached to it. And somebody's not yet today can become their yes tomorrow. Okay? Let's remember that. Okay? The last today can become the latest tomorrow. All right? So check that behavior, my friend. Rich or privileged people don't make noise. They're quiet and respectful. Number 6, if you're always angry and mean to everyone, especially those close to you, then again, you need to check your self-esteem. It could be that your insecurity about your shortcomings keep putting you in a defensive mode all the time because you think they might notice a speech flaw you have, for instance, or you think they might mock you because you're not too educated or because you don't have nice things like they do, perhaps. And so you're constantly angry as a default approach towards people, you know, and You do this more to people who are more privileged than yourself in some way. And you keep trying to put them down, or you make them feel guilty and wrong. In fact, the atmosphere changes whenever you're around, and it becomes really tense. And every conversation people initiate with you or have with you is never productive, you know. You frequently disagree with others or refuse to listen to their point of view. And you have a general unwillingness, you know, to be proven wrong, because you feel you're letting your guard down. And if you let your guard down, you may expose yourself as a lesser intellectual being, whatever that is, you know. And even when it's obvious that you're in the wrong during an argument, or you don't have all the facts right about a story, you know, you turn the tables on them by trying to convince them that they are the ones that are in the wrong, and you are never wrong. Or you insist on your version of a story, although you know that it's obviously an incorrect version. You know, people now walk on eggshells around you all the time. They feel as if you're blaming them for the way your own life has turned out. And they feel like they have to apologize to you. Child, listen, that right there may be your low self-esteem manifesting and causing you to gaslight, okay? And let me tell you something. Gaslighting people repeatedly is another form, if not a big form, of abuse. It is. All right? So you better check it and be honest about it and check yourself. All right? Moving on. Number 7, okay? If you're the type who likes to show off their relationships, their clothes, their cars, or their achievements on every social media platform, then you may have a form of low self-esteem. Yes. Okay. Now, I know that we all like to post stuff on social media. I do that, all right? And every now and then I post things that, you know, I think make sense. But if your entire life revolves around that, and not because you're making money, no, not because you're making money off of doing it. You're not a social media influencer, as they call them, but because you crave attention from people who don't know you, who don't like you, who don't care about you. And so you post everything about yourself, your kids, your house, your car, whatever, your new clothes, whatever it is you want to show off. You keep posting them. And then you even lie about these things, because this kind of a behavior comes with lying sometimes. If you're doing all of that, then you truly need to check yourself. Because you know, a form of low self-esteem is when a person constantly seeks validation from doing these things, okay? And these are things that don't improve their lives in any way, or when you keep constantly seeking approval from people who don't really care about you, all right? That's even worse. When they don't care about you, they're mocking you. So yeah, let's check that one, okay? Number 8, if you're always going overboard with your appearance and your dressing, just so that you can make others jealous of you, for example, then you may have another form of a low self-esteem. Now, I'm not saying that all people who dress well are hiding a low self-esteem. No, they're not, all right? But if you're spending what you don't have to keep up appearances, or you're mocking others who don't dress like you do, then you definitely have a low self-esteem problem. Because people who understand who they are know that they don't need to wear makeup or expensive clothes all the time to prove their worth in life. No, they don't. All right? The truth is that most times, nobody really cares what you look like. Some may even find that your designer clothes is tacky on you. Sorry. It's the truth, though. You know, many of us black women, for instance, we love wearing our wigs, and these things make us look nice, but they cost a pretty penny too, if you really want a good one. And so just like so many other women, female enhancing products out there that we love to buy, if you can't afford one and you have to lie or cheat your way through it or reduce your moral standards to get any of these things, then you definitely need to check your self-esteem. These things do not define us as women. They only enhance us, and there's a big difference. No amount of makeup, Brazilian hair, or designer clothes and shoes can mask an ugly behavior in a person. All right? Nothing can. Moving on, number 9. If you engage in any kind of recreational drug, now this is a serious one, or risky behavior such as smoking, drinking, or having casual sex with everyone and anyone as a coping mechanism, then you definitely might be having a serious self-esteem problem, okay? Because confident people handle stress well. They deal with it, by growing from it rather than repeating a vicious circle to escape it. You see, we all suffer stress sometimes, all right? But what makes us different from others is how we choose to cope with it, all right? It is our ability to handle stress in a way that is non-invasive to our health and our well-being. Meaning, we don't engage in acts that will be even more detrimental to us than the initial condition in us that we're trying to resolve. It's a bit like using a hammer to swat a fly, if you ask me. I know it's a funny example, but it is. So yeah, you need to check your self-esteem, all right? The last one, the final one, number 10. If you're the type who can't express yourself in a professional setting, say for example, during meetings or presentations at work, especially when you're expected to speak confidently, and instead you're stammering while speaking, or your voice is barely audible while you speak, or your speech is generally weak. Now, if you struggle with any of these or all of these, then I'm sure you know by now that it is definitely a self-esteem problem and also a self-confidence problem. It's definitely self-confidence, involved in that also. Now, the sad thing about this is that you are probably very talented and good at your job, but you just don't know how to put your points across, so your colleagues and your employer, for example, they may mistake your anxiety as you not being the sharpest knife in the toolbox, not knowing that you may even be the sharpest butcher knife they've ever had in that company. Yeah, so definitely intervention is needed at this time, and a quick one too. Now, having said all of that, let me give you the 7 ways I have used and I still use to overcome some of my own low esteem problems and my thoughts of negativity that do crop up every now and then. The first one is this, and I think this is also the most important one, of everything else I'm going to say. Number 1, become your own best friend. Start to proactively appreciate yourself. Tell yourself that you're smart, you're beautiful, you're intelligent, and all those things that you feel you're not. Tell yourself that you are. Get to know yourself better as you do this intentionally, even when you don't feel like it. Zoom in on your best attributes and zone out the opinions others may have of you. Pay attention to your feelings about yourself and stop ignoring them, because they're trying to tell you something. And you need to find out what it is so you can sift out the rubbish from all the good in there, all right? Sift it all out and live your best life, okay? The second one is this. Acknowledge your areas of weakness and actively seek a change. If you don't know you have a problem, they say, you will never change. You will keep thinking it's others who have a problem and not you. Also, don't confuse people's love for you as approval of your bad behavior. That's a mistake we all make. Don't do that. Sometimes people love you regardless of how you behave because they see how insecure you are and they hope that their love for you can help you get better one day. Okay? The third one is this. Surround yourself with the right people. There's a saying that goes, go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. So you need to be around people who will and can help you build your self-esteem and self-confidence. Look for people among your friends, your family, or your colleagues who appreciate you and care about you, okay? And then spend more time with them, all right? And it doesn't matter if they are friends you meet online only. It could be virtual friends. It doesn't matter. As long as they make you feel valued, appreciated, let them be the cheerleaders as you journey towards a healthy self-esteem. Okay? The fourth one. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Simple. Understand that we all can't have the same experiences in life. Okay? And so there should be no basis for comparison. We're all on our journey here on earth. My journey is not your journey. and I'll get there at my time. So don't do that. Number 5, stop stressing yourself. Take time out to rest your brain, rest your mind and your thoughts. That way, you'll find that your negative thoughts become lesser every day. Studies have actually shown that constant feelings of stress can play a huge role in a low self-esteem. And it does this by making you think negative thoughts about yourself more often than you should, which then in turn reduces your self-esteem and confidence and makes you feel tired and too tired also to do anything that you normally would love doing. So try to relax by doing some things and get more creative. Get your creative juices flowing, as they say, Look for a creative outlet. Whether it's something you love, it should be something you love doing, like dancing or cooking or baking or making videos like myself. Anything you love doing is possible for you. Just do it. If you need to get online tutorials, find online tutorials and start on it today, okay? Get that going. My 6th tip is this: change your approach. Yes. Change your approach to difficult and tricky situations. Look at them from a different or alternative perspective. Be more positive with yourself, okay? And be more realistic about your abilities. You need to trust yourself to be better than you think you are. Because like I said earlier, most people with a low self-esteem are actually very talented, but they don't know how to express themselves, and that's just the only problem they have. So try changing your approach and language by simply having an "I can do it" attitude instead of your usual "why bother anyway" attitude, okay? And before you know it, it will become your default way of approaching things, which will in turn, again, boost your morale and your self-esteem. Okay? Now, my 7th and my final tip that I use very often is to repeat positive affirmations to myself daily. And I ask you to do the same. Every morning when you wake up and at night before you go to sleep, speak these words to yourself, or any words you put together for yourself. Stand in front of a mirror, speak these words, speak them loud. These are words of reaffirmation to yourself. And as you speak them, be intentional about it and mean it. Okay, I created, something like a little prayer of affirmation. I put them together from a few scriptures that I personalize, and I repeat them to myself very often. These are the words I say, if I can remember. I say to myself, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am the apple of God's eyes, and whatever matters to Him matters to me too. And I can do all things through Christ Jesus that strengthens me. Christ has saved me to the uttermost. Therefore, every weakness in my attitude is reverted to strength for my good. And because of His plans for me, I know that I will be the best, because His plans for me are good and not of evil, and they are to bring me to an expected end. I'm whole, not anxious, not insecure, not feeling negative about myself all the time. And in any other way, I'm not lacking in any self-esteem or self-confidence, okay? I believe right now, and I decree according to His word, that I am rich in all speech today and always, and I'm rich in knowledge. I'm rich in the knowledge of God concerning how to approach difficult situations around me. And I decree on myself and over myself from today that I am walking in total wholeness in my mind, in my spirit, in my soul, in my body. And I do all these things in the name of Jesus Christ. This is the affirmation prayer that I speak out loud very often. I add more things to it, as the Spirit leads me. I'm going to put the scriptures I've used down, on the screen, and you can use it if you want to. You can find it there and use it too. I'll put it in the comment section as well. Now, I'm going to conclude by saying this. The moment you proactively, I love using that word proactively, the moment you proactively start working on developing a healthy self-esteem, you'll find that you no longer have the inclination to compromise on your worth. And what you want for your future is clearer to you. You'll find that you are now able to set boundaries that others must accept. Having a healthy self-esteem does not mean you won't go through bad things in life or make mistakes that will affect you negatively. No, that's not what it means. It simply means that no matter what it is, you can develop a resilience to everything that has hurt you in the past. And so it becomes easier for you to move on from the past and live in the present. Be alive in the now. You become open to growth, better new experiences, and meaningful relationships. It also means that you can now use your experiences as a lesson for the future, because you've realized that disappointments and failures or even setbacks can neither damage nor tamper with your value, because you were created in the image of God. And therefore, your value is not dependent on what you go through, okay? It's not. I like to use the example of $100 bill. You know, even when you crumple it up, it doesn't lose its value. Even when you stomp on it, it doesn't lose its value. It remains $100 bill. You are valuable to God. See yourself as $100 bill every day. Trust that the God that brought you this far is going to lead you further on, and is going to capture every of your mistakes and make you a better person. Thank you for listening.